Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Now this that Brian Melancholy XRP sent me this morning is really interesting. He's at Mike Honcho _11, and by the way, this dude is like on fire all the time sending me information. Okay, he sent me this tweet, and this is from Stuart XRP. Both these guys, this guy puts out some really good information at Stuart _XRP. Now, I think I'm saying this name right. Adrian Hope Bailey. Okay. Before I show you what this is, I want to show you this person's Twitter feed. This guy is the head of Interledger at Coil, co-chair of W3C Web Payments WG, building the Internet of Value. All comments my own. He's from Cape Town, South Africa. But this guy's obviously a really sharp guy. So let's look at this tweet. Okay. This is from 2017. He's talking, it says, company in South Africa pitching a solution to banks that use Ripple's open source technology with no involvement from Ripple. XRP as a global reserve currency. XRP incentive program for market makers. Banks hold XRP instead of Nostro. If I can stop this video, I want to. I think. Okay, well. Here we go. All right. Oh, this is the slide I wanted to stop it on. XRP as a global reserve currency. Solid fundamentals and superior technology. Production payment network operating seamlessly for 4 years. Zero forks, zero reverse transactions. Dedicated product and engineering resources funded by XRP sales. Global banking partners with production deployments. XRP incentives for market makers to maintain tight spreads. Distribution by a registered and reputable MSB. But I mean, think about this for a second. This guy is standing up in front of a room full of people and telling them all this. You know, I've seen many people over the course of the last few months that'll throw around, XRP being the world's reserve currency or a global reserve currency, and a lot of people laugh those kind of things off. I personally don't believe that we're talking about XRP being the global reserve currency. I think it's going to be one of the major bridges between a lot of, I think many countries will have their own central bank issued fiat or it'll be central bank issued digital currencies. And I believe XRP will play a big part in bridging all of those. That's kind of where I've stood on all of this. But I do believe that XRP is going, in a large way, is going to replace what Swift's doing, and these Nostro accounts will have XRP sloshing around. But anyway, the point is, this is a massive thing. The fact that they would even have a slide like this shows you how massive all of this is and where all this is going. Okay, next, I got this from XRP Vegas at Funky Bad Chad. I like this. I like his logo. If I was a betting man, I would say that that Extra Hardcore designed that. It looks like one of Extra Hardcore. It looks like possibly Extra Hardcore's work. What a great handle though. Hodl. He's got the cards. Pretty cool. But he sent me this, and this is from a guy named Tyler Atkinson. So it looks like maybe he was a baseball player, but he's making a point about how the major sports in the U.S. are starting to co-opt crypto. He's talking here about Russell Okung, who was an NFL football player. He's a Bitcoin guy. MLB champions, they brought crypto to the MLB. This is MLB champions were like collectibles. The UFC was being sponsored by the Litecoin Foundation. I remember seeing the Litecoin logo on one of the UFC mats. Then NASCAR driver has partnered with Official XYO, which is a blockchain company. Before it's over, get ready, folks. I've said this for the last year. NASCAR, you will begin seeing like a lot of crypto names that you know on the hoods of NASCAR cars, on the NASCARs. You will see that sooner rather than later. And then he says, NBA, NHL, your move. So we've got almost all the sports. We're already seeing it over in football in Europe. I've seen advertisements. I believe maybe it was for eToro or some of those companies over there. It's all coming, folks. It's going to be a cascading effect. All right, next. Got this from Where's Bob. I think he changed his name on here. Where's Bob? At Bob in Deep XRP. Where's Bob? I wonder where Bob is. Maybe he wanted us to ask. This was funny. I love to revisit. I love to. I call it my John McAfee segment, I guess. But there's always, John McAfee has a way of keeping himself out in the media, and I think he's really smart in that way. Bitcoin bull John McAfee warns U.S. government, I will bury you. So basically the U.S. government is going after him for tax evasion. I think he's even accused of murder in one thing. I saw a documentary on Netflix about him one time where there was like a whole thing where somebody had been murdered and they thought it was him. But anyway, these are some of the things that he's saying. This is a tweet from Friends in the Statement Department. The DOJ trumped up charges against me for murder, money laundering, and racketeering. They're working with Telus Bethel, military head in Bahamas. Facilitator is Florida CIA agent J. Kent Costello. A conspiracy is unfolding. Proof coming. And he's putting out all these tweets that are just, we declared our independence from Britain and fought a bloody war to escape burdensome taxes. Yet here we are, less than 250 years later, being burdened by income taxes that are more crushing than anything the British dreamed of. Free yourselves, people. So he's created an entire movement, and let's see, is this recent? No, that's an older tweet too. But anyway, here's one. Don't ask me about immigration, foreign relations, education. I have no idea. Those claiming that they do are lying to themselves, or if not, they are purposely lying to you. But he is basically on the run, and it's amazing this day and time. We're able to read his tweets and see what he's doing every day. He's always docking his boat at these restaurants. It looks like down in the Bahamas or near Cuba, and going to restaurants. But to me, the guy's fascinating to watch. But apparently, they must be either closing in on him or he must be feeling the heat, because he's talking about outing names and different stuff like that. Pretty wild. It's kind of like watching. It's kind of like watching a movie. That's why I keep going back to it, because it's fascinating to me. I hope it is to you too. Well, you want fascinating? This would be fascinating. I'm not going to go into the article because it kind of speaks for itself. At XRP_veteran sent me this. U.S. Congressman suggests crypto not be taxed. Congressman Ted Budd co-sponsored the Cryptocurrency Tax Fairness Act, which proposes crypto transactions be untaxed, like purchases with foreign currency. Folks, I know he just proposed a bill, but if this ever happened, you want to see some money flow into crypto? Whew, it would be wild. Okay, this guy's on fire recently. XRP raconteur at Crypto Cubanito sent me two things. The first one is this. Russia holding Bitcoin is okay, but using and mining it isn't. Now, before I show you the gist of this article, I want to tell you, as I've said before, Bitcoin, Russia, China, India, and some of these countries, we've heard 1,000 times about how they're different versions of how they're going to ban crypto. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. In my opinion, they're not going to do any of it. Crypto is here to stay. It's a global phenomenon, and I don't think that they're going to be able to control their populations the way they would like to. They probably would love to, but I don't think it's going to happen. The gist of this article is these three things. Anybody caught mining Bitcoin will be fine, but owning it is just fine. So you can own and hodl it, but not buy it, sell it, or use it. And they said this came out of, this revelation came during the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum during an interview with this person, chairman of the State Duma Committee on Financial Markets. I believe that it wouldn't surprise me. By the way, who wants to hold digital assets if they can't buy or sell them? What good does that do you? But anyway, Thought that was pretty wild. And next, he also sent me this article. Now, this is big, folks. I've talked about Proppy on this channel a good bit. Proppy is that company that is, they're trying to, I've always said, I believe blockchain will change the real estate closing process probably more than any process. I believe it will, that it is going to completely transform. The closing process is so convoluted and complicated. I grew up, my dad was a home builder growing up. And so, I mean, I grew up sweeping sheetrock out of houses. And so I am so familiar with the closing process and all the ins and outs of all of that. And it's a million things can go wrong. And there's so many different parties trying to communicate with each other. Email helped that along, but the blockchain is going to make it seamless, in my opinion. And Proppy is a company that's trying to do that. And so now the venture capital arm of the U.S. National Association of Realtors has bought a stake in blockchain-based real estate startup Proppy. That makes me want to go buy some Proppy tokens, folks, because that is huge. The National Association of Realtors is one of the largest lobbies in the entire United States. It is massive. It is a big deal that this happened right here. So if you've ever entertained the idea of getting Proppy tokens, I don't own any yet. The symbol's PRO, and I know you can get them on BitTrue because I thought about getting some myself. Just throwing that out there. I don't own any as of right now. Next, from C3 Nick, warning. This is another exchange problem, folks. Warning, the exchange Hotbit has been suspending withdrawals for a few assets for more than a week. One example of this, RHOC, RChain, which has been disabled for almost 2 weeks now. You can also not sell without major losses. Do not leave assets on exchanges. Please share this warning. What is worse is that Hotbit does not even inform their customers. Even normal ERC20 tokens are randomly suspended with no explanation given as to why they have been suspended. Furthermore, there is no time frame given when withdrawals will be reopened. So anytime there are exchanges having issues, I make sure that we make you aware of them. And that's another one. The Ledger Nano S you can get in the description of every video I've ever done. It's the way I store my digital assets and the way everybody I know who's an average Joe retail investor like you and I, that's how they do it. It's a way to store them so that your private keys are yours. Next, I'm not going to go deep into this. I just want to, it speaks for itself, and I want to make one point. From Michael at VAL5 Links, Stellar Public Network successfully upgrades to Protocol 11. 3 massive changes announced. You can go and read this at ambcrypto.com. But I only wanted to mention one thing. I tweeted out yesterday a tweet, and it's true as I sit here. I've been sending and receiving different digital assets since 2013. There are only 2 digital assets that I have sent and received that always arrive in 2 to 4 seconds, and those 2 are XRP and Stellar. And I think it's important that you all know that, and I think that speaks for itself. Next, from Sergeant Obi-Wan, MoneyGram exec predicts crypto takeover after internal tests with Ripple and XRP. This is worth reading you his quotes, folks. Okay, this is, let me see what his name is. Yuri Bebek, MoneyGram's global head of product and innovation, believes it's highly probable cryptocurrencies represent the future of how people will shift money across borders. We did a proof of concept with one cryptocurrency. We made a press release so I can answer that. That was with Ripple, where we were trying to see if we can use cryptocurrency for liquidity in the markets. Because the big secret with money transfers is the money doesn't move. The money's already there. We pre-funded pretty much in bank accounts all over the world. Then we do value transfer. But if we were to send money from here to Mexico and literally physically move the money at that time, it would take a lot of time. So cryptocurrency, if they all add scale, and if the markets are there with liquidity, could actually allow us to eliminate pre-funding of fiat, what we call regular currency in a particular country, and then use the exchanges to sell cryptocurrency against local currency and deposit that into the bank account or give it in cash for our user. So we are obviously looking into that. We are running some pilots and trials. And I do believe it is highly probable that this is the way money will move in the future. There is still a lack, again, of liquidity, and some markets are more advanced than others. We deal with a lot of exotic currencies in Africa, for example, where I don't see cryptocurrency really being traded in the near future, but in many places like in Europe and like in Asia, it could actually be possible. And if it takes off, we want to be a part of it. You better believe it, folks. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that MoneyGram knows what's going on. Thank you for listening.